So Bell Hooks once said that being queer or queerness or queer pedagogy is like being at odds with everything around it. And as a result, we need to invent, create, and find new spaces for us to thrive. And I think this sums up queer pedagogy in a pretty good note, because ultimately it's not about being at odds per se. It's about the friction between your true self and what society is looking at you to be. And in that kind of friction, we have to grow, and we have to learn, and we have to be resourceful. And I think these types of characteristics really work well in an educational space. So effectively, queer pedagogy is taking a look at the existing structures, the barriers in society that have been put in place, and in our case, the language that we've been using, and examining sort of what brought us to a place where all of these things were the status quo and were sort of acceptable in our context, and then questioning whether or not that needs to continue. So I think in a language teaching space, that involves the language that we're using, the pedagogy that we're bringing into the language classroom, the types of examples, the texts, the videos, all sorts of things. We and the learners can start to question, and I think that's only beneficial for everyone involved. So I was recently on a podcast, TESOL Pop, with Laura Wilkes, and we talked a little bit about a 5-step framework for a more disruptive approach to language teaching. And in this specific case, I think it's a good example of how we might very practically include a queer pedagogy approach in our classrooms. So if you're interested in that, I'll put the link out somewhere, I don't know, in the show notes.